Hello there. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Tuesday night Principal Chiro broadcast. Hope everybody is doing great. Um, we have another great speaker this week. Getting ready to roll around to what? August DE. There's the sweetie sitting on the roof. And that is, Katrina, you have that August, was it 21st? Where is it? August 11th to the 14th. There you go. And then October 13th to the 16th. I love my cheat sheets. Thank you so much. And this week we've got an awesome DE chiropractor who also, we were just talking to him because he was in our office as a peak, and we just realized he graduated March of 2018. So he was in our office for October to March, and was just a kick-ass uh, intern, and now he's kicking ass in practice. But it's funny because we're watching the Braves game, and he's the one we went to the he's the one that we went to the World Series with. I'm gonna kill her. All right, so let me, since you want to say hello to everybody, the entire crew watching. There we go. Oh my goodness. So from Mississippi, Anthony Lopez. Go ahead, sir.
Hey, everybody. So just kind of staring awkwardly at the camera, waiting for it to go. But hopefully you all can hear me okay. I've got these headphones on to try to ensure that. But man, it's an honor to be on the call tonight. This has truly been a remarkable experience so far in practice. You know, as Brian said, graduated in 2018. And it's been, like I said, quite a ride, and kind of get into that a little bit. But first off, it's just really an honor to be on the call. When he asked me to do this, and this is the second time I've been able to speak, but these thoughts always go through my head of, like, you know, there's so many people in DE that are amazing chiropractors, amazing human beings. What am I possibly going to bring? What am I possibly going to have to give to be able to contribute something of value to people? Because I've gotten so much from being at DE and being a part of this movement that, you know, it's like, what can I give, you know? So probably everything that I'm going to be talking about is going to be somewhat, you know, pulled from other talks that I've heard, you know, from being involved in DE. So it'll probably sound a little bit familiar, but I'm just going to really just share my heart. And from what I found, at least in the last, you know, 4 or 5 years in my personal growth journey, that is the best thing that I could possibly do, is just be me and share my heart. So with that, I graduated in 2013 from the University of Southern Mississippi with an exercise science degree. Now, when I originally started on that journey, I didn't really know what I wanted to do outside of just the fact that I wanted to help people. And that was my main goal. I wanted to help people, whatever that looked like. And so eventually that turned into sports medicine. Well, what is sports medicine? Very vague, you know, non-specific type of field to major in, right? And as that became more refined and everything like that, then I decided, oh, well, I want to go, you know, to be a physical therapist. So I'm like halfway through school, and I'm like, okay, physical therapy. And then a chiropractor comes and speaks to our class. And basically, what stood out to me is that you were able to help people without drugs and surgery. And I was like, well, that sounds amazing, because I can't stand taking medication. Who likes taking medication? I don't want to be that person. So maybe I can go be a chiropractor and help people without the use of drugs or surgeries. And so that led me into shadowing about 200 hours at this chiropractic office. And it was a pretty miserable experience for the most part, if I'm being honest. This office was basically a glorified physical therapy clinic. But the thing that I did see was the power of the human body and its ability to heal, function, and adapt. And even though I got zero education on, you know, why chiropractic helped or really any philosophy whatsoever, I was really able to have my eyes opened at what the body can do when it's functioning optimally. And so that kind of really planted the seed in my mind that, hey, look, I could be a chiropractor, and this seems like something that I could have a lot of fun doing. But I still kind of put it on the back burner because it didn't really seem like the chiropractor that I was shadowing was very passionate or very excited about what he was doing. He actually was about to be going back to school to be a physician's assistant. Imagine that, right? So that eventually, like I said, led me back to physical therapy, and I was kind of going on that trajectory. And then I got to a point where I realized I don't want to be a physical therapist. I don't want to deal with all of the crazy, regulations that I was going to have to abide by, and the numbers I was going to have to meet in order to get into physical therapy school, and for something that I just really didn't seem very passionate about. And so I graduated in 2013, like I mentioned, in exercise science, and basically was just working 3 different jobs. I was managing a GNC. I actually helped open a GNC, and was selling supplements to people. And then I was doing personal training at 2 different facilities. And then I was also working at a wellness facility. So I was probably working 60 hours a week. No big deal. And then, of course, through the midst of that, I met the love of my life, who would go to be my wife about 7 years later, 6 years later, I think, actually. And we sparked up a relationship. And through that time is when I decided, there's more for me. There's more for me in life. I feel pulled to do more and to be more. And that led me back to chiropractic. And the way that it did is kind of interesting story. But the owner of the GNC that I was a part of, he actually had me go speak to this nutritional supplement place down the road. And he wanted me to scope them out because they were our competition, basically. And then lo and behold, I go in there, and it's a chiropractor, basically a traveling chiropractor is what he called himself, that he worked in the back part of his sister's nutrition facility. And so I wound up striking up a conversation with this guy, and it honestly led me to really feel like, okay, let me look into at least what the stipulations are for me to get into chiropractic school. So I applied. I know that, I lived in Mississippi at the time, right? That's where I was raised, and where I'd stayed after graduating undergrad. And I was like, I really don't want to leave, have this new relationship and all of this stuff, but I'm just feeling pulled to do something more. And I'm like, I'll just kind of put it in God's hands. And I wasn't really religious or anything like that at that point in time, like not super into it, I was kind of raised that way, but I just really didn't have a relationship with God by any means. But I was like, I'll just kind of put it in God's hands. If it works out, it's meant to be. And if not, then I'll do something else. I'll figure it out. Well, didn't realize how easy it was at the time to get into chiropractic school, at least based if you have, at least somewhat of the prerequisites, right? And so I got into Life University, and kind of the rest is history. But there is one part of the story that I have to talk about. And it's the part that when I was going into chiropractic school, my mentality was completely different than it is now. Like a lot of yours probably, I wanted a multidisciplinary practice where I was helping people with their mental issues. I was like, I wanted to have, not necessarily me, but I wanted to have like maybe a therapist or somebody in the office to be able to kind of talk them through things, kind of give them, therapy. I wanted to have maybe like a nurse practitioner or someone like that could maybe prescribe something if necessary. I wanted to have, a physical therapist in the office that could do the physical therapy. I wanted a, some type of functional nutritionist in the office that could handle the nutrition supplements and the testing and all that kind of stuff. I wanted to do all of that, right? And I was pretty fired up about that in the first 6 quarters of chiropractic school. And the mentality of it was I just wanted to help people, right? I wanted to help people, and that's why I got into college. That's why I went to college, was to help people, and I wanted to use every skill set that I felt like I could reasonably use to do that. And of course, lo and behold, wound up living with Alex Rubin. If you guys know Alex, you know that he's a very, very principled chiropractor, and he's very persuasive in his ability to get you to do things that he wants you to do as well. And he's also got at least in the beginning, when you're first getting to know someone, if someone's really passionate about something, it's attractive, right? In the same way that we have to communicate chiropractic and make it attractive to other people, not from like a fictitious type of way, but we just got to be genuinely so fired up about chiropractic that people want what we have. Alex was already doing this. And for someone that was just caught up in all of the other things about trying to get good grades in school, trying to learn all of this different stuff, and like, how am I going to open up this practice with all these different disciplines and whatnot? It then became so simple to me that there was a better way. It didn't happen easily, but as being Alex's roommate, and which also connected me with Evan Sidoti and Joe Abretsky and Tracer Moore, Danny Roses eventually, like all these really cool people, it kind of brought me into the mix and into the fold of what chiropractic really was. And that's all thanks to DE. Without DE, I would not be here today. I went to DE 6-quarter, and I very vividly remember walking into the room. And I believe it was Dr. Paula who was speaking on just move the bone. And I feel like she was just kind of screaming it like, move the bone, move the bone, move the bone. And I remember being like, whoa, what in the world? What did I just walk into, right? So I know, a lot of the speakers have had different experiences like that for different reasons. But I was like, move the bone. Like, why are we so excited about that, And it just shows you how lost I was, even from maybe reading some green books and being at Life University and being exposed to so many different things. I was still lost to the chiropractic principle. And it took me working through my own thoughts and having conversations with Alex and Joe and Evan and Tracer and all of those guys to really get my head wrapped around the principle of I don't need to be anything more than a chiropractor that is ready to give everything to find the subluxation and remove the subluxation. Everything else, I can refer, for nutrition. I can refer for exercises. I can send like YouTube. Goodness gracious, what a resource for exercises these days, right? I tell people all the time, they're like, oh, my hamstring's a little sore or whatever. Go look on YouTube. There's all sorts of different resources for that, and just kind of point them in a direction. But at the time, I wanted to be all things for all people. And it's funny because I look back at that now and I realize that a lot of that stemmed from me never feeling like I was enough on my own. And so what that did, that mentality constantly being perpetuated throughout my younger years, I always wanted to do everything. I wanted to be everything to everybody. And the reality is, whether you're a chiropractor, whether you're a physical therapist, whether you're managing a GNC, it doesn't matter what you're doing, you can't be everything to all people. And it's a surefire way to burn yourself out and fail anytime you try to do that, right? And that's something I had to learn the hard way. And I had a lot of doubt. Even kind of coming in to my own with DE and everything like that. It took a long time for me to ever really grow in my confidence as a chiropractor. I was doing all of these conferences and technique adjusting seminars, and I never really felt like I was going to be a good chiropractor until I really got out there and gave myself to DE, if you will, and gave myself to growing as a person, growing in relationship with God, finding out more about myself. If you're on this call and you have no idea what Dynamic Essentials is, the best way I've ever heard it explained, and I'm pretty sure this is straight from the mouth of the late Dr. Sid, who unfortunately, I never got the pleasure to meet, but I know he's alive and well in DE. Every single time I'm there, amongst everybody involved in it, he is alive and well. He's speaking through each and every one of us. But something he said, and when he defined the Dynamic Essential, is that it's the new spirit born in a person when they become aware, humble, and obedient to the will of God within. And once that happens, you become dynamic, and that is essential. And so that's what the Dynamic Essential is, right? It's not just becoming aware that chiropractic's amazing and that we need to tell everybody about it. It's about becoming humble enough to not give a crap what everybody thinks and tell the person at the shopping mall, at the grocery store, whatever, at the gym, being humble enough to do that and not care what they think, and then listening to that, actually doing it, right? That's the hard part. We could talk about this stuff all day, but like actually doing it and put it into action, that's a whole different thing, right? And a lot of times the reason we do those things, going back to what I was struggling with, was doubt and confidence. Something Dr. Paula said at a different DE, I think it was last year. She said, doubt kills more dreams than failures do, right? Think about that for a second. Failure isn't bad. I tell my team each and every day, failure is important in the growth process. If you're not failing, you're not trying hard enough. You're not pushing yourself. It's okay to fail. It's actually great to fail, right? But you got to get back up again, and you got to learn from that. Dr. Sid used to say, he quoted Rocky, and he would say, "I ain't going down no more." When he got hit down there, I think in Rocky 1, right? I ain't going down no more. Well, when you fall, when you fail at something, right? It's only really a failure if you don't get back up. I believe Austin Davis said this one time too, that there really aren't any failures, wins or losses, actually, only adaptation, right? We adapt to a win, we adapt to a loss, but we get to choose how we're going to adapt. That's the thing, is we get to choose. Regardless of who you are, you get to choose how you're going to respond to each and every situation. So with that, you must take ownership of your confidence, right? Your confidence, or my confidence, is not dictated by whether or not someone feels better after I adjust, their atlas. I'm confident their body's expressing health and it's functioning better after that, but I can't let my confidence wane and be reliant on whether or not that person feels better instantly. Sometimes they don't feel better instantly. You guys probably know what I'm talking about. You adjust and they're like, my headache's still there, but maybe, something else feels different. Maybe, like, I had a lady just the other day that could swallow better after she had her atlas adjusted, but her back still hurt, right? And it's just different, really cool things that we're exposed to in practice. And if you're not protecting your headspace, if you're not, putting a shield of protection over you, you're going to be vulnerable to these kind of things each and every day. It's also important to remember that you don't have to be perfect. You just have to do the best that you can. And then those days where you're not doing the best that you can, it's important to forgive yourself and love yourself and then right the ship as soon as you can, right? We're not going to be perfect. All we have to do is do the best that we can. I have a couple different signs in my office, and I don't have the calligraphy on the walls or anything like that yet, but we have a couple different signs, and one of them is straight out of the mouth of Michael Halloran, and it says, "Lord, send me all the people I can help today. Send me all the people I can help today," right? And that's something that I pray and that I think about every single day. We have another one that says, "Let your faith be bigger than your fear." It was fear that made me want to do all of those other things in chiropractic. It was fear that almost made me open up an office with a couple other individuals instead of striking out on my own and opening up my own office and doing it the way that I wanted to do it, right? It was fear that really captivated my life for the first half of my life. And I hope that if one person gets something from this message, is that you don't have to live in fear, right? Anytime you get the spirit of fear, it's okay. It's probably not actually fear. It's probably just a little bit of excitement for what's to come. And Dr. Tony Ann said this one time, actually. She said that there really aren't, like, I'm trying to think of exactly how she said it. It was something on the lines of, you're not scared of the, I can't think of it. I'm messing it up. But basically, you're not scared of the battle, but you're scared of the blessing. And that might have been actually how she said it, verbatim. But you're not scared of the battle. You're really just scared of the blessing. And I've seen that play out a few times in my practice. There's been times where I've wanted to kind of pull the reins back a little bit, because I was like, we're at a good spot right now. Our team isn't really trained up to be able to handle this or to handle that. Maybe we'll just pull the reins back a little bit and just kind of coast for a little bit. But every time I do that and I think about it, it hits me and it hurts my heart, because there's somebody that we're not reaching because we're not doing enough, right? And yes, there's times of sowing seeds and times of reaping and all that kind of stuff. But that isn't what I'm talking about, right? I was scared of the blessing in that moment. I was scared of the blessing of another person coming into the office, or getting to a point to where someone had to wait for 15 minutes. And so that was creating anxiety in my mind. But it's okay. It's okay if you know those things, if you become aware of those things. It's not being aware of it or just letting it continue to happen that's when the problem comes in, right? So I know I've kind of rubbed on a lot of different topics with this talk so far, and like I said, I hope someone got something from this. I do want to kind of wrap up with one more thing. About 2 months ago, I'm sorry, not even 2 months ago. It was a little bit over a month ago. We were at Sarasota. That Saturday night / Sunday morning, I got woke up by my wife, who said that my mom was on the phone and she needed to talk to me. So I take the call, and my mom tells me that my dad's been shot. And I feel like in that moment I was in shock, because I was like, what are you talking about? How in the world did he get shot? Well, lo and behold, still don't know the whole story, but guy had a shotgun and shot my dad right in the face. And fortunately, this last month, I've been able to come to the practice, serve, be with my family, and be able to drive back and forth about almost 2 hours of a drive to help kind of take care of him. And he's been through the ringer. We went through times where we didn't know if he was going to make it, and he's out of it. He's out of it. He just made it home this past weekend. Praise God. It's just like completely, like, there's no reason that he should be alive based on how close the guy had to have been when he shot him and the whole thing, right? But my dad's still here to say this, to tell the story. And he's told me this a couple of times. He said, my job's not done. And that just makes my heart so happy, because I know my dad's lived a tough life, and he's going to be able to have an amazingly better life because of this, if he chooses to, right? There's always a choice. And I think it's going to grow our relationship. It's going to do some amazing things. But what I really want to touch on with this is, like, this is the kind of crap that subluxated people do. Who just goes and shoots someone while they're in their truck? Like, shooting to kill them. Normal people don't do this. We just had a shooting, in Texas, I think, today at a school. Another mass shooting. It's horrible, 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 horrible. Normal people that are not subluxated, that are getting checked regularly, don't do this kind of stuff. And so it's on each and every one of us to get out in our communities, spread this message of chiropractic, that above, down, inside out, we are significantly better when we're clear and connected, when we're well adjusted. Now, what that looks like for you may be completely different. I tell people you need to be checked once a week, and I firmly believe that, right? You need to be checked once a week. Now, whether that means you need to be adjusted each and every time, that is up to your body. And I'll only adjust you when you have a subluxation. I will not adjust anything that doesn't need to be adjusted. But to be checked once a week, because guys, science and research is catching up with us, right? Not that it needs to. Anybody could spend any time in our offices and see the science and research each and every day. But for a lot of people, they need to have that science and that research, and it's catching up with us to show and to prove that what we've been telling people for years, this is how we should be living. So guys, once again, thank you all so much for doing what you do, being who you are. Going to DE, it really is like a breath of fresh air. It's the most consistent place I've ever been to. Every single time I go to DE, if I meet someone new, it's like meeting someone I've already met before, because of how much love and how much consistency there is with the human beings that are present. And I can't thank you guys enough for accepting me in as part of your tribe, back in 2016. I do plan to be at every single DE that I possibly can, going forward with the rest of my life. I don't plan to ever retire, but if that does happen at some point, I do still find myself going to DE, because I can't imagine my life without it. To me, it's not even a chiropractic seminar. It's a development seminar. It's a love seminar. There's so many positives that you could say about it. So once again, I love and appreciate all of you. Keep doing the things that you're doing to serve your community, and let's go out and do the work. Thank y'all. Have a good night.
There he is, man. Thank you, Lopez. Glad Dad's doing better, man. That's amazing. That's
yeah, man. Thank you.
For you. So, but we appreciate everybody being on. Thank you so much for the talk. We love you, brother, and keep on keeping on. We'll talk to you next week, guys. See ya.